What's going on, guys? Evan the Dark Souls enthusiast here, bringing another Dark Souls gameplay commentary on the Xbox 360. This is going to be another PvP commentary. This is the second half of invasions I did in the Kiln with the Knight Greataxe. The second half of the invasions did not go as well as the first. I ran into a lot of 3v1 situations, most of which were edited out here because they weren't really even matches. I'm not a solid enough player yet to player versus player to 3v1, but I wanted to show all the matches despite a lot of these being losses. I wanted to go ahead and bring them to the channel, just because it's more complete for me to show you the matches I lose and win, just so everyone gets sort of a fair portrait of how I play, how other people play. It'd be kind of lame if all I did was edit in the ones I won over and over and over. I received some messages throughout this video. Apparently I was annoying people with this weapon, or annoying them by running away from their crystal magic weapon, but I won't elaborate that in the actual commentary. Just know that I didn't receive any messages that were polite or respectful. All I received was a bunch of haterade messages. And this guy's using a spear, of course. You'll have to excuse my gurgles and my pauses in the commentary. I actually have a sinus infection that I think my girlfriend brought to me when she came up and visited, but I'm not real sure, so I've just kind of got to make do with it. I want to keep putting content on the channel regardless of my ailment, so I hope you guys can understand. In any case, this is a pretty long match here where this guy just keeps poking me. That's the demon spear. He obviously just keeps poking at me. I'm not sure what his offhand weapon is, but a smaller sword obviously, and he's just trying to poke me out while he outranges me because my weapon doesn't have a whole lot of reach. One option here would be to switch to one hand, due to the fact the one-handed move actually has the one-handed horizontal slash actually has pretty decent range compared to the other setups. He finally gets me, finally stabs me a little too close and screws up his spacing enough for me to get a backstab him, which takes off the vast majority of his life. When dealing with people like this, you pretty much are going to have to get them on the backstab because they'll bring you down behind their shields or just by poking you out like this guy. I mean, to this guy's credit, he's not using a shield, he's actually just beating down conventionally. Finally, I roll in for the spear poke, invincibility frames for the win, and managed to get him. If he had fished for some backstabs himself, I'm pretty sure he would have beat me. That was a pretty good match. Always nice to run into something a little different. Then I get invaded by this guy here. This guy, of course, who's a big fan of... I believe this guy buffs his weapons, but I'm not positive. Wearing the big hat, which is basically cosmetic. There's really nothing about Big Hat's hat that I find all that impressive other than the fact it looks pretty cool and it does hide the vast majority of your character, just like Big Hat the NPC. I'm sure most of you guys have seen or heard of. If you're watching these videos, you're probably interested in PvP, and that guy catches me on a roll, which is pretty impressive. Good backstab, and then he chain backstabs me. Now, I'm not real sure how that one happened because I mashed roll and I stood up, and 99% of the time when I mash roll and I stand up, that doesn't happen, but there he got me. And the Moonlight Greatsword, of course, has excellent chip damage against really 95% of all things that would block it. You need sort of a crest shield to block it effectively. Now I go on the run. I'm gonna try to turn around on him and backstab him, but it doesn't work out. He hits me long range with his Moonlight Greatsword, heavy attack, one-handed, and blows me up. So pretty classy way to die. I enjoyed that match. I pretty much got Rolfle Stomp, but that's alright. In the previous commentary, I sort of said everything I wanted to say about the Knight Greataxe and how to use it and things like that. I probably should have explored the moveset a little more in these videos, in that, there's the heavy attack jump on the one-handed and the slow uppercut on the two-handed, but neither of those has ever really impressed me in terms of PvP capability. Too slow. Anything slow I find just isn't very good. I also don't like the Knight Greataxe's rolling attack. The little, after you roll, you do the spin. If you miss, it pretty much leaves you open to a free backstab, and it doesn't have as much range as I might like. The club movesets, like the Great Club and the Club, they actually have better rolling attacks. In fact, wow, I'm not sure what happened to them there, but the clubs ultimately are, in my opinion, have a better moveset. I think the reason I left it in the video is he indicted me. That's pretty funny. I guess he's just carrying like 99 indictments, so he's just going to indict everybody ever. That's cool. I don't care if I'm indicted or not. I'm not trying to get up on the leaderboards, and at the same time, I don't mind being up on the leaderboards. And I get in a fight with the same dude with the Moonlight Greatsword, and I'm all for rematch, particularly when I think I have a shot at winning. Excuse me, and take a drink of water. He takes a bow, I take a bow, and I guess we decide to go at it here. The Moonlight Greatsword, this weapon, I struggle against this weapon. It looks amazing, of course, that unique skin on it, because it's from Seath's Tail. Cool weapon and everything, but it's so good in PvP. I would say, if I had to say, quote-unquote, best weapon in Dark Souls, and by the way, there really isn't a best weapon, but if I was forced to choose, I would have to say the Moonlight Greatsword, because pretty much everything about it is excellent. It's got good range, it has an amazing moveset, it has half the moveset of the Claymore, and then it has, I could have got backstabs there if I played a little better. It's got the moveset of the Claymore, which is a really solid moveset. It stun locks really well, just like a Claymore. The R1 smashes and the Claymore hit stun extremely well. Moonlight Greatsword's no exception. So that's pretty solid there. As you can see, he somehow manages to hit stun me, whereas I can't hit stun him. Close match, though, in its own way. If I maybe got 1 or 2 more hits on him, he would have been dead. So, pretty good match. But Moonlight Greatsword there, Claymore, it's a great sword weapon class, and it seems to hit stun as well as or better than Claymores and Black Knight Greataxes, which is pretty scary considering how fast it swings. So, amazing moveset, amazing stun lock potential, and just to make it even better, it's 100% magic damage, which 99% of the time is great, because magic damage is the hardest damage in the game to block, and it's usually the damage people are the least prepared for. The only time it kind of sucks is when you're playing against someone who also has a Moonlight Greatsword, because if 2 people have Moonlight Greatswords, then it just gets weird. I didn't know what I was dealing with here at first. This guy's got a really neat build. He's got the... I think that's the Dragon... I can't remember which dragon weapon does which special attack, but that might be like the Dragon King's Greataxe. Two-handed, I believe it does that mass explosion, and I believe one-handed it sends long-range shockwaves. Either way, this guy's a really cool build, where he's basically like full Havels, max defense mode engaged, no rolls, just sort of back up and swing your weapon over and over. You can backstab punish those attacks he's doing, those two-handed smashes on the ground. I'm just not being aggressive enough. I'm being too fearful and not moving in for my opportunities, which is a problem I've talked about in the previous set of Black Knight Greataxe videos, where I just need to learn to trust myself, trust my rolls, and trust my weapon. Of course, on his switch, he has the Black Knight Greataxe just like me, so he's basically running the heaviest crap he can, just having barely enough endurance to carry all the crap and swing it. My assumption is that he's got Havel's Ring and Ring of Favor and Protection. I'm looking for my inventory for like a weapon swap or like a bow or something. Because he moves so slow and his rolls are going to be sort of fatty rolls, I could probably actually catch him just by beating on him with poison arrows. I could give him poison, and that would help a lot if I had kept a bow on me, but I was unprepared. And I enjoyed fighting this guy due to the fact that, he's got every trick in the book. Explosion, shockwaves, you name it, he's got it, and that's pretty cool. As I was saying about the Moonlight Greatsword, just to wrap up that before I forget, it also has, 100% magic damage, which does a tremendous amount of chip damage against people who are blocking, and the heavy attacks, the energy waves are amazing. Once you get used to them, they're great, because the light attacks, the R1 attacks, if you will, are already, like, strong enough that there's really no need for a heavy attack just for sheer damage, so the heavy attacks become a matter of utility. And those beam waves have great utility for catching runners on the one-handed. The one-handed is pretty much just you throw it and hope they roll into it or aren't looking and you get them. But as you can see, I got the backstab on this guy when he was trying to do one of his special attacks. And on the other thing about the Moonlight Greatsword is the two-handed R2 attack, the heavy shockwave. That thing's amazing. A lot of people don't know how to use it correctly. You're not supposed to lock onto your target, though, when you use it. That doesn't really work well. The way to do it correctly is drop your lock on, charge it up, and swing it in their direction, but kind of at your feet. That way when they try to roll in, which they must inevitably will, they'll try to roll in and they'll just get beat down. And then we trade and we kill each other. I thought that was a pretty fitting end to a good duel. I consider this a win on my part. He probably considers it a win on his. I'm not sure. I know I don't lose any humanity and he does, but by the time you're in the kiln, humanity isn't that valuable a resource. Yes, Moonlight Greatsword, best weapon ever. I can't wait to bring my commentary series here to the Kiln. I have a character that's going to use the Moonlight Greatsword. Just haven't got there yet. The character is literally at the Duke's Archives. Still has to go through all the other bosses that went to Duke's Archives first to get the spells. It's an intelligence-based caster, of course, because Moonlight Greatsword scales strictly off intelligence and does pure magic damage. I'm trying to be crafty there by standing in the fog and then rushing out to get a backstab. He was too far back there for me to do it. He's got Mask of the Mother, so he's got about 1 million life. He's probably got some Wrath spam going on here. But like many people, his Wrath just doesn't hit very hard. For me, if you don't have access to Dark Moon Catalyst at like, Dark Moon Talisman at 45 to 50 faith, your Wraths just don't hurt enough to really concern me. They chip me a little bit. This guy isn't doing anything in particular, he's just taking advantage of me having a low IQ. He just goes behind his shield, bops me once, puts his shield up, and blocks my counter swing, and he just does that over and over and over. This is where if you wanted to be a jerk, you'd pop a humanity and just go right back in the fight and just nullify all his work, but I don't know, I try not to do stuff like that. Sometimes I get frustrated and do the absolute worst, but I don't know, I think I'm going to go for my shuttle right now, but then I realize the shuttle will do so little damage to this guy. I'm trying to taunt him into attacking me. Taunt him into doing something. Right now I can't really find an opening. I was going to try to, like I said, R2, a heavy attack with the shuttle and just peck it down his health, but it'd be a long fight. I switched to the boulder shield at this point because I realized I need to be able to block his swings 100%. I'm so low on life, I need to be able to block all of the physical damage to try to stay in the fight. And the boulder shield allows me to do that. That's not even upgraded. The boulder shield's a great shield. If I fully upgraded it. And then, of course, there's a kind of an awkward exchange. He runs out of stamina right when he breaks my guard, but I'm out of stamina too, hence why my guard was broken. If I had had 15 stability on my shield, I think that I could have waded through all those. That's also be a good opportunity to try to parry him. Of course, he's just going to catch me with Wrath of Gods. Everyone seems to have at least 9 Wrath of Gods in their inventory at any given time. Just fine. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Wrath of Gods. Right now it's a problem, but it's mostly due to his tanking build, not really his Wrath build. Sometimes I wish I had like a Dragon Slayer Spear. Really I don't know why I tried to swing there. It was completely stupid. Don't ever do that. But I don't know. Sometimes I just wish I had a really long-range weapon that way I could attack people from basically outside of their Wrath of Gods range. I think the only problem with Wrath of Gods for me is the fact it's so overused. I feel like every build ever has Faith to use it. I'm like, I wonder who just doesn't make a Faith character. And of course, this guy's going to buff with Crystal Magic Weapon. I already fought this guy a couple times before, I believe. And I have to take special care to mention this guy. This guy talked mass trash on me. He must think I'm literally the worst Dark Souls player in the world. He hates the fact that I quote-unquote run like a wussy whenever he uses Crystal Magic Weapon. I really don't get that. You're supposed to chase me down with it, man. Like, summoning a bunch of homing Crystal Soul Missiles that are easy for me to avoid isn't really effective. I mean, this guy's clearly throwing dung pies, he's throwing poison knives, he's summoning magic, he's Crystal Magic Weapon. Like, this guy has pretty much every trick in the book. I don't know why he's whining. And he's using Rickard's Rapier, which means, his R2, if I stand in front of it, it'll plow me. See, he's chasing me around. He's doing it right. I don't see what the big deal is. He's winning, too, and I think he goes on to win this match. But he was really upset about it, and I got under his skin with some of the messages he sent me, so I don't know. Sent him some pretty hostile responses myself, but all in all, not a big deal. His Crystal Magic Weapon finally wears off, and now I'm like, alright, now we can duel. While you summon, homing soul missiles, and, that's what intelligence casters do. This is what my intelligence caster will be doing as well. Then he buffs, and I missed the backstab, which was a pretty bad fail on my part. I could have caught him there, but once again, not aggressive enough, playing too conservatively. Then I basically decided I'm going to do the standard run away and let his buff wear off, and I think this is where he got really mad. Was the fact that I just outright ran. This is quote-unquote so annoying and a waste of both our times. No, not really, because you'll run out of your buff and you only have so many casts. If a character is, if the designer of a character is sane, they won't have more than 5 attunement slots, and they probably haven't been through New Game more than twice. So, with 10 crystallization catalysts having their cast to 1. You have to play through the game a lot to have more than like, I mean, the max cast they're going to have is between like probably like 5. So it'd take a long time to wear all 5 casts, but it's very possible. And shockingly, he actually does have another enchant. So in order to let his buff wear off, I run away again. This is why he got mad. Wasting our time by trying to... And of course he gets the invincibility frames while he backstabs. I think I went up walking off the edge here. Either way, which is cool. I like his character's appearance, by the way. Of course, the Rickard's Rapier poking frenzy. Dong 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 dong. I'm not sure. And then, of course, he flasks after, and he'll talk. And he has a... Basically, his build's really effective against mine. He has a White Knight shield, which has the highest stability of the medium shields, and he still has access to parry. This weapon's easy to parry and has no damage outside of raw physical. So just blocking and trying to parry, or just chasing me around, poking me from behind your shield with your, or poking me with your crystal magic weapon, rapier with your shield up, etc. I mean, he's got everything. He's got all the tools he needs to beat me, for sure. But whatever, I enjoy these fights. I enjoy the lengthy battles. It seems like my opponents aren't happy unless they can just blow me out in 5 or so seconds. For whatever reason, he's chipping me through my shield, probably because I have the Grass Crest shield out. I should have changed to the Boulder shield for sure. I also should have been more aggressive and actually took some swings at him. I spend most of the fight being afraid of him and not really making any moves. Then he changes to the Moonlight Sword to finish me off, which is a strong choice because, you know, all magic damage. And that was pretty cool there. He caught me with... I'm not sure if that was a heavy soul spear or a crystal soul spear, but either way he caught me and he gets his taunt in. He's very proud of himself. So not only did he taunt me, he decided it was absolutely necessary to send me about 10 hate messages. But as destiny would have it, I ran into him again, and this time he sent me a message that he wasn't going to buff, and I quote-unquote better not run like a pussy. So I just, you know, I'm a kind of a sporting guy. I decided I'd take that challenge, you know, why not? That sounds friendly enough to me. Then of course the Moonlight Greatsword and its unlimited beatdown swings. This was pretty upsetting for me because I really wanted to beat this guy, but, you know, I try to get the parry on him and he just walks behind me and backstabs me and makes me look like a tool bag. He takes a bow. That's actually not the same guy from the previous match. I apologize. I was confused. So, every Moonlight Greatsword guy I tend to assume is the same person, and it's usually not. I did fight him earlier, but the guy I fought in the match with the crystal magic weapon is this guy. This guy is the guy that wanted the rematch with no crystal magic weapon. And of course, the minute he says that, he casts crystal magic weapon, so I'm like, we'll just go for the same plan we did previously, where I'll run away from you and run off your buff, and then I'll fight you. I think he winds up weapon swapping away from his buff stuff because he realizes I'm just going to run, which apparently annoys him something awful. But I give him the chance to change to other items. Then I shrug back at him because we agreed to no crystal magic weapon. And now he changes to his Chandler's Trident plus Moonlight Greatsword, eats his stamina grass, and starts throwing poison darts at me. This guy, of course, PvPs with, you know, with all the stops out. Right now he's using his catalyst to shoot stuff at me. It's pretty obvious. Stating the obvious. I wanted to end on this match just because I'm going to go on to win it, spoiler alert, but I wanted to share it just to show that, I guess just to prove him wrong, that, you know, I'm willing to fight, like, head on, just not, you know, I don't want to fight in a situation that favors my opponent. If they buff, I'm going to run. If they have Dark Moonblade, or if they have Faith, I suggest Tranquil Walk of Peace to catch me. If they're Intelligence, I suggest, you know, saving your buffs until we actually get into it. I don't know. I do know that I'm going to keep running from Crystal Magic Weapon, and really nothing anyone says can change that. Clearly, I needed to get that off my chest. I've vented about that for a big portion of this commentary, guys. I apologize. Once again, I apologize for being sick. I know it's sort of lowering the quality, but I want to get something out on the channel. Anyway, that's the last of the Black Knight Greataxe, and probably the last of the Black Knight Greataxe videos that come to the channel, unless more are requested. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to see you on my next video. Alright guys, everyone take care.